My husband is cheating on me with our best friend. I recently found out that my husband 42 is cheating on me with our married best friend, 32F. She is the godmother to our 4 children. They don't know that I know, but I caught them making out at the end of our driveway when he was seeing her off after dinner with our family. We live on a small acreage and the driveway is a long way off from the main house. She had forgotten some crockery at the house and I decided to walk it over, because for some reason the two of them always took a while to say goodbye. Now I know why. That's when I saw them lit by her car's headlights. Making out in the front seat with our best friend straddling my husband. In shock I didn't know whether to throw her Pyrex at the car or just walk away. I decided the latter, and was too shocked to cry or be angry. When my husband got back, I had to pretend like everything was normal. I know that it's stupid but I couldn't sleep that night and decided to go through his phone. She was obviously under a pseudonym but I found a handful of their messages dating 2 or 3 years. Her husband doesn't know, he's currently posted overseas as a diplomat. I'm sick with rage and betrayal. I'm lost and have no idea what steps to take next. Update: Woe didn't expect this much support. It's really overwhelming. Just to clarify a few things, this is a private account I created just for this post away from my usual account because I was scared it would be traced back to me. I want to remain anonymous as much as I can. I don't live in the US, but in Australia. Technically, I can't file for divorce immediately, as you need to be separated for 1 year and 1 day to file officially. My now ex-best friend just recently returned to the country. Her father has cancer, after being posted with her husband overseas. The dinner was to welcome her home, and what a welcome. There's some comments here about the headlights illuminating them. Sorry, I meant overhead lights. As to what I'm going to do now, a part of me just wants to confront my husband, see what lame excuse he has. But I need to get away from him. This level of betrayal physically hurts. I can't help but think of all the times we spent together over the years and for how long our families were fooled. My mind is going crazy, when she was single and he would rescue her from some bad date, or the times they were alone in my house when the kids and I were out. How irrationally angry he was when he found out she had a boyfriend then chose to marry him. Thinking back on it, the two of them disappeared at her wedding. When I asked him where he was, he said he needed to reassure her that she had done the right thing. I feel so sick thinking of these things. Update: Thank you everyone for your concern and advice. As of tomorrow my husband is out of town. I've tried really hard to act normal around my now ex-best friend but it's proving difficult and I feel sick. I have been telling both of them that I've caught some terrible bug and just not feeling myself. While my husband is out of town for the next few days, my sister-in-law, who is the only other person who knows, will help me pack important documents and store them somewhere my husband doesn't know about. I've organized for my kids to stay with them for a week while I sort my SHT out. I've spoken to a family lawyer and they have told me that the best way to start the separation procedure is to no longer be living under the same roof. I'm fortunate in that most of our assets are also in my name, and the land our house is on was gifted to us by my parents. I'm planning to kick him out after his trip. But before that, I want to catch them both in the act again. Have some hard proof, send it to the ex-friend's husband and get the ball rolling for moving on with my life. I'll update with what happens after the confrontation. Final update. My husband came home 2 nights ago from his trip. While he was gone, I had organized a lot of the important documents, e.g. financial, birth certificates, passports, anything that he could potentially use to try and get more than what he deserves. They are now safely stored and my kids have been staying with their aunt and uncle for the past few days. I had packed all my husband's things and he has been really good at keeping his tracks clean because there was no evidence of his affair within his stuff. I placed all his belongings in the garage ready for the confrontation with him. I was super nervous because I wasn't sure if I was making the right decision. Once he came home and I remembered seeing him kissing our best friend, I remembered the deep hurt they had caused. I was in our kitchen when he came home and he knew straight away something was wrong. During that week I had been distant and had barely answered his texts and screened his calls. I did answer every now and again and gave the kids a chance to speak to their dad. He asked me why I hadn't been responding to his texts and he tried to kiss me but I turned away and before I knew it the first things that came out of my mouth were, "I want a separation." I have to admit that he didn't look very surprised when I said it. He nodded his head and said, "What do you know?" Which was just a punch in the gut, because I wanted him to deny it or say something like it was a one-off thing. I asked him to tell me everything, like when did it start? And he said they started about 10 years ago. At first it was flirtatious messaging and a sneaky kiss in the office when they briefly worked together and the affair was on and off. She apparently always felt guilty and her way out of that was to marry the next man that was interested in her and proposed. He admitted that they had sex on her wedding day and when he is out of town they meet. At this point I couldn't breathe and I was sobbing. I hated that the next words out of my mouth was, "Did you even ever love me?" He hesitated and said yes of course, but he was never in love with me the way he was with her. I cleared my throat and had said to him that he should tell her husband, there is no point hiding it anymore. I told him that all his stuff was in the garage and he can find somewhere else to stay. I let him know that I have spoken to a family lawyer and I told him that when I feel ready and only when I feel ready will we see each other again and talk about the future arrangement with the kids. I said any further communication can be done through my sister-in-law or my brother. I said, he is allowed to see the kids but only at their place. I am of course wanting full custody of the children because it hurts too much to give him anything at this point. He agreed to all my points because he knew he was in the wrong. He tried to say sorry and then I absolutely lost my SHT and screamed, "No fucking no way are you sorry, for 10 fucking years you have both deceived everyone we know. Please take your SHT and leave and tell that woman you have been fucking for 10 years that I do not ever want to see her fucking face again." Certainly not my shining moment but also a culmination of all the hurt and anger over the last few weeks that they have caused. I have no intention of talking to my ex-best friend or really to my soon-to-be ex-husband until I have had the time to grieve. So thank you community for the encouragement and advice. Hope I can heal and move on from this.